That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a storyline I don't want to have to do a story about, but I'm seeing it all over social media and the podcast world. Is the honeymoon phase now over for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame edition of the Always Irish Misery Show? This one's going to linger, you guys. Get used to it. It ain't going away. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. A lot of you have the last week, just for all the wrong reasons. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny Boy out as well. Notifications on the way. You will alert me every time I have a breakdown and you want to see it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish 8. The emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Keep them coming, Ohio State people. Keep them coming. Keep calling my mom names. One guy even called my grandmother the W word from the black and white days. Said that the last time Notre Dame beat Ohio State in the 1930s, she was the classiest one of the bunch uptown. There are people who are literally not joking that they hope they witness me be deceased on the air because of this game. Keep it coming, Ohio State fans. You guys are a classy bunch. Always IrishND@gmail.com. Keep them coming. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you still want it. Call-in lines are popping. 312-988-15. Instagram, Facebook. You can harass me there too. Always Irish Inc. USA Today Fighting Irish Wire. I couldn't sleep last night. I'm all out of sorts. I wrote 5 articles last night, I think, or 4. I'm trying to be productive with my misery, all right? Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm whacked out. I'm drained. I'm running out of empty. I'm getting into the loopy phase of this. It is, God, help me. As everybody being honest with themselves will admit and attest to, this loss is lingering, and it will linger as it should. It is not the fact that Notre Dame lost to Ohio State that is making it linger. It's how. It is how. This was bigger than just one loss on paper. Everybody knows it. Everybody feels it. And it's sparking some discussions that I don't even want to have in Notre Dame land. But that's what happens when you have this happen. I've heard multiple people write about this and ask about this after the Ohio State result and how it happened. Okay? I've seen lots of questions posed and things people discussing about the idea of, is the honeymoon phase for Marcus Freeman now over at ND? Not because you lost to Ohio State, but because of how. Let's talk about that notion and if it's accurate and fair or not. Here's number one. What do you mean by honeymoon phase? I cannot answer this question without having somebody define to me exactly what that is and what that means. I need to know the parameters with which I'm yelling about. We need to establish that definition. If it means the margin of error the fans are willing to accept is lowering, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes. Absolutely. More so on the staff than the players. That is the weird part. We all acknowledge the players needed to make one more play out of like 10 or 12 to get Notre Dame to win, and they did not do that, and that is on them. Nobody rose to the moment and made the play to end it all. That's on them. But I think when you talk about the honeymoon phase being over, I think the fans are more upset with this staff than the players, and that's just weird. But if you mean by honeymoon phase is over that the fans are not going to accept one more even tiny little coaching mistake for the rest of the time, you're right. You can't do what they did to end this game on offense or defense. So, yeah, the fans are on edge and they don't want to see one more coaching mistake. You just can't handle it. So if by the honeymoon phase is over, you mean like leeway for Marcus and the staff to like learn or whatever? Yeah, I agree. That's gone. Because the coaching staff didn't put the players in a position to win the biggest game we've had in like 20 years. The one that means the most, the one that was going to move the needle the most, change the narrative, push Notre Dame into the modern era, have them in the discussion with the elites that you could beat Ohio State, all of that. All of it. All of it. So, yeah, the honeymoon phase is over for the staff. No fan is going to accept any mistake anymore. You blew all the goodwill you had with that, with how you managed those last two drives, one on offense, one on defense. Nobody has any more patience for that. But now, if you mean by the honeymoon phase, and again, I want to reiterate, more on the staff than the players in a lot of ways, which is just kind of weird. But if you mean Freeman's honeymoon phase is over, like if he loses another game or two this year, you got to get rid of him and move on, you are absolutely insane and you're not looking at the big picture. You're insane. You are out of your mind if you're thinking that. So that's what I mean when I say you got to explain to me what you mean by the honeymoon phase. What does that mean? So, again, if it means none of us have any patience for any more mistakes from the coaching staff, then yeah, I'm with you. But if it's anything more than that, you're not paying attention to the big picture. And I realize it's hard to do that right now this week, but you got to be mature enough to handle that. The irony of me sitting here stroking out the last 4 days, talk about emotional maturity is pretty funny. Do as I say, not as I do. Here's the reality. The reason this win would have been so huge for Notre Dame is that it would have shown they're ahead of schedule on this program rebuild. It would have accelerated everything they're trying to do, both practically and perceptually, and put it into hyperdrive. That is why this hurts so much. You didn't get it. You're not there yet. You can't make the big play. You can't finish. The roster isn't quite there yet. Whatever you want to say, it's frustrating. And by there yet, I mean making the 2 or 3 or even one more play needed to win this game and change the narrative. Okay? And the other extension of that is, I've been saying, looking at this, there's levels to this, and I feel like Notre Dame's a couple playmakers away from winning these types of games. It's the closest they've been to that level since Lou's heyday. And I've had people push back on me and say, John, it was right there. We didn't need any better players or whatever. One more play and we win the game. But follow me. You're right. But follow what I'm thinking. If you got a few more playmakers that make splash plays, the idea would be you're up by 10 at the end of the game. Not down to the wire and it's win or lose on one play. It's that Notre Dame played good enough in this game. If they have a few more of those guys, a couple on each side even, maybe you're up by 10 and you don't even get in that situation. Notre Dame's getting closer to what they need to be. And how Freeman wants it to look, you could see it. Is the honeymoon phase over for dumb coaching mistakes? Yes. No one has any room for that anymore. As for the actual big picture, Notre Dame's clearly heading in the right direction, but nobody wants to think about it this week, and not me. It just hurts. I'm telling myself to be an adult and move on. I still have that feeling in my stomach, you guys. It hasn't gone away. You know what I'm talking about, that pit. Anybody suggesting, this is off the rails, Freeman not going to figure it out, he's on the hot seat, you better watch it. You're upset with this one result that's clouding your judgment. At this exact moment, the beginning of year 2, the program is further along than it ever got under Swamp Thing, and that's a damn fact. I've seen people asking, oh, do you think the game would have ended the same if Brian Kelly was here? Hell no, I don't. We would have been down by 3 scores. You wouldn't have to have it be down to the last play. He would have had the guys crunching numbers in their cubicles on a business trip. You wouldn't even have been down to worry about the last play. Kidding me? This is the closest the program's been to what it needs to be since Lou was around. Not fighting Ryan Day in the parking lot. It's hard to see it now as a Notre Dame fan, but I have to think in some messed up Notre Dame way, this is going to make Freeman stronger and a better coach. It's going to drive him. This kind of thing would ruin a lot of people. It isn't going to ruin Marcus. It isn't. He's too strong of a person for that. This isn't going to ruin him. You just wait as a Notre Dame fan for the decade that all this misery and scar tissue comes full circle and it makes it worth it. The honeymoon phase is over when it comes to coaching, mistake, patience, but nothing else. That's my answer to this. Marcus has got the program trending up. The talent's getting better. He's the right guy at the right time, the right fit for Notre Dame. It was just the worst possible way for for this moment to end the way it did is not real life, man. It's just not real life. And I get that the honeymoon phase is over for coaching, mistake, leeway. Overall, though, you got to try. I don't want to do it either, but you got to try to keep that perspective and understand he's got him trending up. This was a chance to be way ahead of schedule from where I thought he would be rebuilding this roster and all that. There's a lot of good things going on. But anybody who's saying, oh, Freeman, a hot seat, what if you lose another game or two, you might have to get rid of it. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. I understand the pain. I understand the frustration. I do, but it's just, that ain't the answer. This is the right guy. It's just, this is a rough time. So I get it. No more patience for the coaching mistakes. But as for the players, we're trending up, and it's just hard to want to feel it right now. What do you guys think? I'm going to go have a stroke. See you.